Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are located around the world. Thank you all so much for joining Amtrak Vacations. As today we feature our round trip rail vacations, everything you need to know. First and foremost, just want to take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Jim Marini, and I'm proudly going to be your host, your presenter here today. Today's presentation is scheduled to be about 30 to 45 minutes, and folks, we have the largest attendance we have ever had as of this year since January 1st. So thank you all so much for joining us. We are running 3 sessions today. So this is the first of 3 sessions. So thank you for joining us here. I did want to mention any questions you have, any trips that you want to talk about, inquire about, certainly consider booking for the future. Our phone number is listed down in the bottom right-hand corner. Give us a call or contact your local travel advisor for any further details. I did want to mention as I go through today's presentation, folks, any questions that you have on the right-hand side of your screen, I want you to feel free to type in any questions you have. I will save time at the end of today's presentation to answer any questions you have. I also have a handout that you are more than welcome to download regarding our maximum flexibility offer, which I'm going to be talking about in just a little bit. However, for those of you that may not be as familiar with Amtrak Vacations, we are part of the Yankee Leisure Group family of brands. As you see all the way to the left-hand side, that is a picture of our brochure. Certainly, if you'd like to receive one of our brochures, again, give us a call or contact your local travel advisor. You can also view so much more on our website as well, also listed down in the bottom right-hand corner. But we are the official tour operator for Amtrak itself. We've been operating all their vacations since 2006. So what does that mean? We take care of the rail, hotel, sightseeing, meals, activities. In the middle is our Yankee Holidays brand. So that's for any vacations. If you have drive-in vacations, or maybe you're planning to fly to and from a particular area, we can take care of the rest. And all the way to the right is our latest and greatest brand. That is our worldwide European, Canadian, and worldwide rail vacations um, across all over the world. All right, so moving into Amtrak Vacations, and I do have some updates for everyone as well, just so we're all on the same page. So we travel to 46 out of the 48 states within the continental United States. In fact, the only 2 states the trains do not physically go through are the states of South Dakota and Wyoming. If you look at all those different colorful lines, those represent the different train routes. Last year alone, there was over 31 million people that traveled on board Amtrak. So if Amtrak was an airline, it would actually be the 5th largest airline in the United States. Now, what makes Amtrak Vacations different? All the way to the left-hand side, everyone, it is a bucket list experience. And as we are anticipating, as we are seeing, a lot of folks are still planning their travel for the summer and fall of this year, as well as into 2021. Why? Because it's a bucket list experience. All right. So if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, I can't tell you how many times that's always one of the top reasons, as I'm sure it is for many of you joining us here today, is that it's on your wish list, your bucket list to travel throughout the United States, have your trains, hotels, sightseeing, meals taken care of. Also, freedom and flexibility. All right. Many of the trains do operate on a daily basis, some multiple departures daily. So depending on where and when you're looking to travel, it's also hassle-free. Many of you can arrive at any of the train stations as close in as 45 minutes to an hour before departure. As I mentioned, we are the official tour operator, where we handle everything for you, your friends, your family. Also, many of the train stations, certainly for those of you that have traveled on board with Amtrak, and by the way, most of all the trains are still operating, okay, and I will give everyone a little update in a little bit, as I'm sure many of you may be wondering with everything going on in the world, but the majority of all the trains are still operating, and they do have city-to-city service. So I am actually doing today's presentation based out of the Boston area. So I always like using Penn Station as an example. The train station is in the heart of the city. Of course, not only New York, Washington, D.C., but also many of the train stations throughout the United States. And there really is truly something for everyone. And I like this picture because whether you're looking to travel this summer, this fall, or even into next year, uh, certainly you're more than welcome. I encourage all of you to think about bringing your children, grandchildren. You know, I just traveled recently this past year on the auto train. And folks, you can even give us a call, certainly for any of you that are looking to travel down to Florida. Some of you may be aware or may have traveled on the auto train yourself, but we book all different types of packages here. That is the one and only train in the United States that you can bring your car or a motorcycle, so a form of transportation. It actually is the only car that leaves right out of Lorton, Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C., and travels down into Sanford, Florida, which is right outside of Orlando. So we are seeing lots of folks still booking that package as well. So you're more than welcome to do that again, either through us or your local travel advisor. But here's the big update I want to share with all of you to begin today's presentation, and this is our flexible booking policy. So, folks, just so you're all on the same page, any new reservation, okay, you can change your travel dates or cancel your rail vacation up to 5 days prior to departure without incurring any change or cancellation fee. Any of you that have any existing reservations, they can be rescheduled up to 5 days prior to departure without incurring any change or cancellation fee. So definitely keep that in mind. There's no penalties. And if you don't know your dates yet, but maybe you want to rebook eventually, we can issue a full value travel voucher, which will include the cost of the trip protection for future use. Okay, and this is good as long as you have already planned your trip. We will work with you to find any new departures, or certainly any of you that are looking to book your first trip, whether it's this summer or in the fall or into next year. Now, a question that has come up is, okay, how many trains are operating? Is there any service that has been suspended? There's only been a few different lines, smaller commuter rail lines that have been temporarily suspended as of right now. And those lines, really, you're looking at the Keystone service. This goes from Harrisburg to New York, as well as the Pennsylvania, New York to Pittsburgh, uh, and the Acela. So the Acela is more of a business traveler train from Boston to DC. But what you're going to see today, which is exactly what's trending for us right now into the summer and fall of this year, and also what we're anticipating. We keep in close communication with the U.S. Travel Association, which helps supports travel within the United States. And once everything clears and everything is good to go, which, you know, nobody knows 100%, myself included, but what we all hope and anticipate is hopefully in the next couple months or so, once everything clears, we're going to see a surge more than we've ever seen. And it's going to be right here in the United States, folks. So there isn't a better time to plan or think about where you would like to go, even if you don't have specific dates as of yet, for the summer, fall, or even into 2021, because what we're anticipating is once people are ready to travel, and I'm sure for many of you joining myself here today, certainly if you're home-based right now, like many others, you're already starting to think about where you want to go next. But what we're anticipating is people are going to travel more than ever, and they're going to travel locally. And locally, I mean the United States, and I mean in particular even out to some of the beautiful national parks, which you're going to hear about in just a little bit. Now, here's the nice part too, everyone. All rail vacations are customizable, so they can start right from your own hometown Amtrak station, which, by the way, there's over 500 Amtrak stations to choose from that you can start or end your trip. So for any of you joining myself here today that you do not like to fly, or you don't want to fly, or maybe you don't feel like driving, or you're looking for something different, does that sound familiar? If any of those apply to you, these are the perfect vacations to consider. And again, any of them can be customized. Now, what does customized mean? Let me give you an example, everyone. Let's take a look at our Rails to the Grand Canyon package. That's the trip that you see all the way to the left-hand side. That right there is a 5-day, 4-night trip. which happens to be a round trip from Los Angeles, okay? If you want to add an extra night inside the Grand Canyon, you can do that. Okay. If you want to add an extra night in Los Angeles, you can do that. By the way, any trip can be round trip right from your local Amtrak station. So if you want to go to the Grand Canyon and you're based out of Virginia or you're based out of Texas and you don't feel like flying or you don't want to drive, we can start and end your trip right from your local Amtrak station. What does that equal? Your customized vacation. Let me move a little deeper into this package as an example. Again, this is our 5-day, 4-night package, which happens to be round trip from Los Angeles. But again, any of these trips can be round trip right from your local Amtrak station. But just to use this as an example, everyone, if you look at this package, the red lines just represent the train routes. The number 1 in a red triangle, that just represents the fact that you'll be overnighting on the train. Now, any of you that have ever joined any of my previous presentations, as many of you may know, I love making my presentations fun, informative, but also a little interactive, all right? So in your question box, everyone, on the right-hand side, and I'm not gonna call anyone out, all right? So you don't have to worry about me calling you out, all right? On the right-hand side of your screen, everyone, let's have a little fun. Let's talk travel. You know, travel is one of the top 3 most related subjects people talk about in the world. All right, and we're going to talk about it today. So here's my first question for all of you. On the right-hand side, in your question box, let's have a little fun together. What is the name of that train that goes round trip to and from Williams, Arizona, from Los Angeles? In your question box on the right-hand side, everyone, let's have a little fun. Just type in. I'm not going to call anyone out. All right, I'm not going to call anyone out. But let me see how many people can get it. I'm actually seeing a lot of the right answers. All right, keep them coming, everyone. I'm keeping them. Wow, you know, son, I got a very, very impressive audience here. Actually, most of you are getting it correct. Fantastic. Okay, you ready, everyone? The name of that train is called the Southwest Chief. So anytime if you hear the Southwest Chief, just think of the Grand Canyon, or if you hear the Grand Canyon, think of the Southwest Chief. Okay. Also, if you look on the map, the number 2 in a round black circle, that just lets you know how many nights that you're overnighting in the Grand Canyon. And as I showed everyone earlier, again, if you want to add nights, right, or maybe you want to take out a night, you have the ability to customize any of our package. So yes, here it is, everyone. Here's the Southwest Chief. Southwest Chief is one of our superliner trains. Now, again, it looks like we got a lot of folks on today's presentation who are familiar with train travel, which is fantastic. So certainly for those of you that have traveled with us, you'll know what where I'm coming from. But for those of you that are joining us for the first time or maybe haven't traveled with us as of yet, Southwest Chief is one of our superliner trains. And what that means is it's a double-decker train. Okay, so there's 2 levels on board the train. It's one of our bigger, larger trains in the United States. And rule of thumb is any of the long distance overnight trains that go from Chicago west out to California or California out to Chicago, those are typically our superliner double-decker trains. Now, this trip features, of course, the beautiful Grand Canyon. You know, over 7 million people visited the Grand Canyon this past year, everyone. Over 7 million people. And actually, speaking of the number 7, it's considered to be one of the 7 wonders of the world. Now, they actually estimate some of the rocks at the bottom of the Grand Canyon are estimated to be up to 2 billion with a B, 2 billion years old. And it's estimated in certain areas to be up to 6,000 feet deep. Absolutely a fantastic trip. So take a look at this package. And by the way, look at the starting price. Many of us are going to spend that amount of money being home for 2 weeks. Why not plan something that you have to look forward to in the summer, fall? Certainly, if you want to travel with your children, grandchildren, or maybe the fall when they're back in school, Grand Canyon operates all year long. Now, one thing I want to bring everyone's attention to as well is look on the left-hand side, everyone, the first bullet point, round trip and coach accommodations on the Grand Canyon Railway. You see, this package is special because not only do you travel on the Southwest Chief, but you also travel on the Grand Canyon Railway. And folks, that's the main train that we bring all our passengers into the south rim of the Grand Canyon from Williams, Arizona. It's only about an hour and a half, 2-hour train ride. It's got that Wild West kind of rustic style train. Don't be surprised if they do a little show in the morning. before you depart. Typically, it's a morning departure. You arrive right before lunchtime, where then you are treated for a Grand Canyon Freedom Tour with a local tour guide. But as you can see, 2 nights hotels, 2 nights on board Amtrak, one-way Amtrak and coach accommodations, and 2 meals included. So I'm going to talk a little later on the options to upgrade as well to sleepers, which I definitely encourage all of you to consider whenever you're overnighting on board the train. Now, by the way, all these trips that I'm highlighting here today, these are the trips that are trending right now as we speak, that many clients and many travelers are booking or planning to travel on in the summer and fall of this year. Here's one if you want the Grand Canyon, but maybe you'd like to see, more national parks in one package. Here's our Grand National Parks. And unlike the last package, which happened to be round trip from Los Angeles, here's a package that's round trip from Chicago. But again, remember, if any of you do not like to fly or don't want to drive, any of these trips can be round trip right from your local Amtrak station. Or you could certainly fly out to one of these great cities. We pretty much book everything on our end with the exception of flights. But as I mentioned, any of these trips can be booked through your local travel advisor who could also book any flights for you if you wanted to fly into O'Hare or Midway. But if you take a look at this package, as you can see, not only multiple national parks, but multiple trains included. And one of my favorite trains that's included on this package is the Coast Starlight. All right, this is what's going to take you down from the San Francisco area down to Los Angeles, and just one of the iconic trains of the Western United States. Again, also a Superliner double-decker train. One of the cities that's featured in this package as well is Salt Lake City, and we actually include dinner at the Roof Restaurant. Now, what's nice with all these trips to all these rail vacations as well, everyone, they're all independent rail travel. So what does that mean? What it means is every day you'll have enough structure, but also enough flexibility. Many times you'll have what we call a hop-on, hop-off tour, which will allow you to see some of the great sites within the city where you could stay as long or as short as you would like. And really, that's such a great balance of a way to see any of these great areas. Now, one of my favorite national parks is Yellowstone. It's actually the world's first national park, believe it or not, first national park in the world. 96% of Yellowstone National Park is actually in the state of Wyoming. 3% is in Montana, and 1% is in Idaho. And here's a little fun trivia for all of you. As I mentioned, I'm doing today's presentations from the Boston area. Do you know Yellowstone National Park is actually larger than the states of Rhode Island and Delaware combined, everyone? It's actually larger than the states of Rhode Island and Delaware, which, by the way, I'm from Rhode Island, which it is a small state. But imagine that, Rhode Island and Delaware combined, Yellowstone is larger. We do include a sightseeing tour of Yellowstone's lower loop. And by the way, in all the national parks, whatever trips that I'm highlighting here, whenever you see sightseeing included, typically that's with a local tour guide, a local park ranger. Okay, so it could be a half a day tour, it could be a full day tour, but it's also with a local guide. Here we have the Southwest Chief again, which again is going to be the train that will take you from not only Los Angeles out to Williams, Arizona, where you head into the Grand Canyon, but also back to the great city of Chicago. And obviously San Francisco, known for its Golden Gate Bridge. And there it is down in the bottom left-hand corner, hop on, hop off sightseeing tour. As I mentioned, this package includes multiple national parks. Yosemite is no different. And one thing to keep in mind is not only with Yosemite, but also Yellowstone National Park. Sometimes I get the question is, do the trains actually go to these parks? Well, the trains will go to Glacier National Park. The train will go right outside of the Grand Canyon to Williams, Arizona, where then you board the Grand Canyon Railway. However, for Yosemite National Park and Yellowstone National Park, the trains do not physically go into the park, but no worries, folks, we got you covered. We include in all of our packages, we include motor coach transportation for each and every one of you to get in and out of the parks as well. And you can't head out to the Western United States, everyone, without going to Hollywood, right? So we do include an LA sightseeing tour, Hollywood, Beverly Hills, just absolutely fantastic. And obviously, the big highlight, of course, is the Grand Canyon. All right, well, we'll spend some time there as well. So this is a great package, folks, to consider. Again, multiple trains, multiple national parks, and all the pricing that you see here in today's presentation, in our brochures, on our website. Just keep in mind, pricing is always based in coach seating, which is the main seating on board the train. However, whenever you overnight, everyone, I would tell my own friends and family, I've done it myself, we always suggest and recommend to upgrade to a sleeper. Not only do you have your own private accommodations, but folks, some of you may be aware of this. Whenever you upgrade to a sleeper on board the train when you're overnighting on the train, which obviously in this package you have multiple overnights, you will also get all your meals included from the city you depart from on board the train until the city you arrive in during that time when you are in a sleeper. Now, moving along, again, folks, these are packages. Again, as I mentioned, people are booking. They're planning to travel this summer and fall of this year. This one is certainly no different. Grand National Parks, except this one is going to go to Bryce and Zion. Now, some of you might be wondering, okay, well, how do we get to Bryce and Zion? Well, folks, this is a real treat. I got to tell you, we came out with this package about 2 years ago, and it's one of our top 5 fastest growing trips that we have in the United States, let alone the national parks. What we did is we partner now with a local sedan service. So basically, it's a private sedan service that will bring anywhere from 4, 6, up to 8 people to some of these parks. So wherever the train doesn't go, then we obviously try to include where we can. Now, again, all these packages, the majority that I'm showing everyone, these packages are round trip packages. As you can see, this one happens to be round trip from Chicago. The previous package was round trip from Chicago as well. The other one was Los Angeles, but any trip can be round trip from your local Amtrak station. As I mentioned, Arches National Park, we do include a sightseeing tour in the park. And again, when we travel to Arches, when we travel on our private sedan service, your driver, he or she is also your tour guide in some of these fantastic national parks. Look at this one, everyone. Bryce Canyon and Capitol Reef, right? Again, these are some of the iconic national parks that we started including, even though the train doesn't go there, because we still want to provide that opportunity for all of you. So definitely enjoy the sites, consider this trip, because this one, again, as I mentioned, one of our top 5 most popular, fastest growing new packages. And as I mentioned, the California Zephyr. Definitely keep in mind too, again, folks, whenever there's an overnight, considering to upgrade into a sleeper, whether it's on the California Zephyr, the Southwest Chief, or any of our other overnight long distance trains. So here's just a little overview on what's included, okay, how many nights, all right. Also, again, round trip Amtrak in coach, pricing is always based in coach, all right, as well as 2 meals and 4 sightseeing tours. Now, I did want to mention as well, we do have some packages that start in one city, and you can either end in another great city or you can go back to that same city of where the package starts from. Now, many of you may be noticing some of these packages are round trip from Chicago, all right? But again, any of our trips can be round trip right from your local Amtrak station as well. Here's one that features Grand Tetons as well as Yellowstone. And I did want to mention too, and I'm going to go over in just a little bit when we talk about the different seating and sleeping accommodations, I'm going to explain the difference between coach seating, a roomette, a bedroom, okay, which would be considered sleepers. So we're going to talk about that in just a little bit, all right, just so everyone is on the same page. But wanted to mention this. Now, outside of some of the national parks, again, because today's highlight is some of our most popular round trip packages. Here's a great one, Charleston and Savannah. Now this one happens to be round trip from Washington, D.C. But again, it could be round trip right from your local Amtrak station. As I mentioned at the beginning of today's presentation, everyone, over 31 million people traveled last year on board Amtrak. So there is a lot of folks that would prefer not to fly, or maybe don't like flying, or they don't feel like driving. and we are more than happy to help any way we can. Charleston, one of my favorite cities. I don't know if any of you have been down into Charleston, but certainly known for their shrimp and grits. Oh, just thinking of that makes me hungry right now, everyone. Definitely some great cuisine, some great um, hospitality. The desserts are fantastic. Obviously, Savannah, another fantastic city. So this is a great package. Again, this one happens to be round trip based from Washington, D.C. But again, any of these can be round trip from your local Amtrak station. And speaking of any of them being local or being round trip, we are definitely seeing a surge of lots of folks traveling to Glenwood Springs. Now, here's a package that's round trip from Denver. So some of you may decide, okay, I'll fly to Denver and do a nice little getaway out to Glenwood Springs. Again, your local travel advisor can help you book the entire package, including your flights as well. So you have that option. But here's a great package. We include the tram and cave tour, and as I mentioned, round trip right from Denver into Glenwood Springs. Now, we also have some other packages. Some of these now are getaway trips. So again, depending on how many days you'd like to travel, you have that option. All right. New Orleans, one of my favorite cities in not only in the US, in the world. We include brunch at the Court of Two Sisters, which is one of the iconic restaurants, definitely in New Orleans. If you haven't been there, folks, known for its nightlife, its jambalaya, Cajun style cuisine, definitely has a strong French and Spanish influence within the city itself. And you'll see also at the left-hand side, you have a choice of a swamp or bayou tour, a super city tour, or a steamboat Natchez evening jazz cruise. So again, all these trips being independent, but yet you have enough structure, but also some flexibility as well. What we're also seeing is Niagara Falls trending very well for the summer and fall of this year. So here's another great package to consider. And again, today's focus, today's highlight is any of these can be round trip. Or if you choose, you could start in one city and end in another city. Okay, so any of these trips can start right from your local Amtrak station, or you could fly to one of the cities ahead of time, and then we can take care of your hotel arrangements and then travel you right down into another great city. So however you choose. So whether it's New Orleans, whether it's New York City, or certainly whether it's Washington, D.C. Lots of great options for each and every one of you to take advantage of, not only either round trip right from your local Amtrak station or from one of the major Amtrak stations in another great city. Now, the nice thing is on any of our packages as well, everyone, you get to choose what hotels you would like to stay at. So depending on what your budget is, what you feel comfortable with, we have 3, 4, and 5 star, 3, 4, and 5 diamond hotels. So some of you, if you prefer a Holiday Inn because you want to stay within a certain budget and a price point, we have you covered. Some of you may want a Marriott, a Ritz, a Carlton, a Hilton, again, a Sheraton. We have a wide variety of hotels to choose from, as well as, of course, the lodges. And I will mention real quick, speaking of hotels, folks, we are one of the only companies in all of the United States that actually can get space inside of the lodges, inside of many of the national parks. Grand Canyon, Glacier National Park, Yellowstone, Yosemite. So when it's hard to get or when it books a year or two in advance, while the prices are double, we're sending, again, Amtrak over 31 million people last year. So if any of you have dreamed or want to travel in particular to any of the national parks, we're definitely the company to call and or your local travel agent so they can reach out to us as well. All right, folks, I see we have a lot of questions that have come in too, which is fantastic. So again, I am going to save time at the end. So stick with me. I got a few more slides and then we'll open it up to any questions, but I did want to highlight the seating and sleeping accommodations. But before I do, look at this, folks. When you travel on board the train, did you know you're allowed 2 free carry-on bags, 2 pieces of checked luggage? And by the way, luggage can be checked 45 minutes prior to departure. So as I mentioned, unlike if you're traveling by flights or airlines, with many times, including myself, we have to get there 2 to 3 hours ahead of time. When you travel on board the train, you can arrive an hour before departure, where then you can check in your luggage as close in as 45 minutes. All right, let's take a look at the seating and sleeping accommodations, okay? First category I'm going to start out with is coach accommodation. So, folks, rest assured, even when you're traveling during the day, everyone, look at the leg room. All right, just take a look at this picture for a minute. By the way, I'm going to give you a big highlight right here, right now. You ready for this, everyone? There are no middle seats on board any of the trains. So I don't know if any of you have ever been stuck in a middle seat. I know I have many times. I actually was most recently flying to Australia, which is, by the way, a 15-hour flight from Los Angeles. All right. There's nothing better than not having a middle seat on board the trains. Okay. So even when you're traveling coach seating, which is typically any of the train travel during the day, lots of leg room. By the way, wireless is free, available throughout the major cities. Obviously, when you're traveling into the national parks, it's not available because again, we just don't have connection there or some of the rural areas of the United States. But definitely when you travel in coach, very comfortable, very spacious, lots of room above the overhead to store your carry-on bags. Okay. So you have that option as well. And yes, if you look at the bottom of this screen, everyone, in the black lettering, all right, you do have access to the dining car and sightseeing lounge car, and you can bring your own snacks and food on board the train. Now, I will tell you firsthand, as I mentioned earlier, the auto train, we can book any packages. If any of you are looking to go down to Florida, all along anywhere where there's trains during the day, I will tell you, every year I do a trip with my family. And literally, we have suitcases, I kid you not, suitcases sometimes filled with snacks and little, apple juices for the kids and just lots of goodies. So that is available. You can do that when you're in coach seating. But let's move into the overnight accommodations on board the train. I know this is questions that I've been seeing come through as I've been going through today's presentation. So roomette, what you're looking at right here, everyone, this is our most popular and our most affordable category of any sleeping accommodation on board the train, okay? It's our most popular and our most affordable. Now, if you look at the diagram on the left-hand side, everybody, what do you not see inside of a roomette? What you don't see inside of a roomette is its own private toilet or shower inside the roomette. But again, remember, it's our most popular and our most affordable. Why? Because right down the hall, there's toilets and showers, and the only people that have access to the toilets and showers are only the people in sleepers, okay? Whether it's a roomette, a bedroom, which I'm going to get to in a minute, or any handicap accessible rooms. So those are the only folks that have access to any of the toilets or showers in the sleeping cars. Obviously, if you're traveling in coach seating, there is toilets and vanities available, but not showers. Okay, there is toilets and vanities available. They're shared, but there's no showers. Only the people that are in sleepers have access to showers. Now, you know yourselves the best. If you want your own private toilet and shower inside of your own room, well, then we have you covered, everyone. That is a bedroom. So as you can see here on the left-hand side, also bunk bed style, I will tell you, my family and I, when we went down to Florida, we actually had, in some cases, it does not apply to all the trains, but in some cases, you can even get adjoining bedrooms, which is what we did because we're a family of five, right? So we had two bedrooms side by side, the door opened up in the middle, and we had our own private toilet and shower in each room, all right? But it was a family of five. And the reason why I say that is the lower bunk bed, as you can see in the diagram, it's actually 1.5 times as wide as the top bunk bed. So my children are ages 9, 10, and 13. So my 13-year-old son stayed in the top bunk, okay? My wife and I stayed in the lower bunk on each side with our two smaller children, okay? One with one of us and one with the other. Very convenient, but it did have its own private toilet and shower inside the room. So again, if you want your own private toilet and shower inside the room, that would be either a bedroom, or if any of you may need any handicap accessible room, that also has its own private toilet and shower. Now, regardless what category of sleepers you book in, whether you're in a roomette, a bedroom, or a handicap accessible room, folks, meals are included on board the train. Now, one update to share with all of you is all the trains that are from Chicago east, okay? So say New York to Chicago or Chicago to New York, those are known as our superliner, our viewliner trains, okay? So they're single level trains. They're also more common for more commuters and travelers. So what we offer now is more of a flexible dining option. So you get to pretty much pick and choose between different menu items, and then you can go down, grab, either eat there in the lounge or dining car, or bring the meal back to your room, okay? More of a flexible dining option on all our trains in the eastern United States. Just like you would have for any of you that have been on cruises, all the cruise lines, pretty much every major cruise line offers a flexible dining option. But guess what they also offer? The more traditional sit down service. We're no different. So all the trains from Chicago west, okay, out to California, or California out to Chicago. Again, folks, these are your superliner trains. Those are going to be more of your traditional sit down meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All right. By the way, let me mention this to everyone. If you're in a sleeper, you also have first choice as to what time you would like to have dinner. Now, I will tell you, anytime I've overnighted on board the train and I've been in either a roomette or a bedroom, I've been in both. They're both great. So depending on what your price range is, obviously roomettes are going to be less expensive than a bedroom, all right? But bedrooms, of course, do have its own private toilet and shower. You get a chance to um, decide what time you would like to dine, all right? Typically, they'll offer anywhere from 3 to 4 different times for dinner. The first one typically starting around 5 or 5:30. The last one starting typically around 8 or 8:30 in the evening. So just something to keep in mind as well. All right, as I go through, let me just highlight some other great items before we open it up to any questions that you have. And I see some great, great questions that have come through. So everyday discounts. So children, that is actually not a typo, everyone. Believe it or not, children ages 2 to 12 receive a 50% discount on the rail portion of an Amtrak vacation package. Seniors, 65 and older, okay, receive 10% off on the rail portion of an Amtrak vacation package. And of course, any military, first and foremost, thank you for your service. You and your spouses also can receive a 10% discount on the rail portion of an Amtrak vacations package. I did want to mention again, everyone, I think this is such a fantastic offer to have right now, and that's our flexible booking offer. Again, any new reservations can be changed. Your travel dates are even canceled up until 5 days prior to departure without incurring any change or cancellation fees, and that would be a full refund back in the form of a future travel voucher. Any existing reservations can be rescheduled up to 5 days prior to departure, also without incurring any change or cancellation fees. So I see we have a lot of folks that have typed in a bunch of different questions, which is fantastic. So I'm going to open this up in a little bit to questions that you have. But before I do, folks, and by the way, thank you all so much. You've all been fantastic joining me and making today's presentation nice and interactive. I have a question for all of you, and that is, what rail vacation are you interested in and when? So I'm going to give you a minute or two, everyone. On the right-hand side of your screen in the question box, I'm not going to call anyone out, but if you'd be so kind, everyone, just type in, what rail vacation are you interested in and when? What destination appeals to you in the United States? And when are you looking to travel? So if you'd be so kind, oh, I'm seeing lots of responses coming in. Yep, Grand Canyon, summer, Glacier in the September, New York City, September, Glenwood Springs, August. Yeah. Oh, Canadian Rockies. Absolutely. 2021. Yes, absolutely. We partner with Via Rail as well, everyone. So we can go up into Canada, Yosemite in the fall. Yep. Charleston, late summer. Fantastic. San Francisco. Great. Yeah, keep them coming, everyone. Thank you all so much. Okay. Got lots of great responses. And of course, lots and lots of national parks. Certainly no surprise. And again, let me just mention that point one more time, folks. Especially any of you thinking of Glacier, Yellowstone, Yosemite, Grand Canyon, Bryce, Zion, Arches. We not only can get the space in the lodges, we can get it when most people are not able to, or when the prices sometimes can be double or triple. That's the beauty of booking with Amtrak Vacations, not only, of course, being able to take care of the train travel, but all the rest from lodging, sites, meals, activities, hotels. And as I mentioned, you also have that option to always book through your local travel advisor who can book the package, including even any flights if you need any flights as well, any airline tickets. All right, so folks, I see we have a ton of questions, which is fantastic. All right, so we are here for you, and I appreciate you all being here. Again, this is the largest turnout we have had since January 1st of this year. We are anticipating, okay, not only are we seeing people traveling this summer into the fall, we're anticipating this is once everything passes and everything clears up. All right, I'm sure if I'm speaking for many of you, a lot of people are already getting antsy and wanting to travel. It's going to be one of the biggest travel years into next year that we have seen in a long time for the United States, because what we're finding when we're keeping in contact and close communication with the U.S. Travel Association is the fact that people are going to want to travel, but they're going to want to travel more locally once everything passes. So we got you covered. All right. Thank you, folks, for the nice comments. I appreciate it. All right. So again, we got lots of great questions that have come in. So folks, stick around if you have a little time. I'm going to go through as many questions as I can get to before the end of today's presentation. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, let's see. Okay, hi Frederick. Curious about options for bringing my small dog as an emotional support animal. Seems that Amtrak is you do need some documentation. So Frederick, if it's an emotional support dog, all we ever just ask just to have is just a letter from your doctor, just expressing that you would need to have the dog for emotional support. So as long as you have that, you just let any of our reservationists know or your local travel advisor, so we can put that in the record. Typically, service animals are allowed, regardless if it's a large or a small dog. Okay, so just let us know, and we'll help you any way we can. All right, let's see. Hi, Beverly, how are you? Let's see, will you be talking about the California Zephyr and the difference between Amtrak and the Zephyr? So yeah, the California Zephyr, folks, that again is our train that goes from Chicago through Denver, through Salt Lake City, out to San Francisco, or vice versa. It actually is Emeryville, which is right outside of San Francisco, goes from San Fran to Salt Lake City, Denver, and then back to Chicago. Double-decker train, superliner train with lots of sleepers on board. All right, just moving through over here. From Mary, how much are deposits? Great question. Mary, on an average, deposits are typically about $250 per person, okay? And we do offer an optional cancellation insurance, which again does allow you that flexibility if you had to cancel, and you'll get a full refund back in the form of a future travel voucher. So very, very flexible. All right, let's see here. Okay, okay, just going through. Hi, Karen. What does coach mean, a regular seat? Yep, so Karen, and this applies to everyone. Coach seating is our main seating on board the train. They're open seating. Okay, so coach seating is open seating. So the only time you'd be actually reserved in a specific seat would actually be if you're in a sleeper. So if you're in a roomette, a bedroom, a handicap accessible room, okay? Hi, Ken, where does New Orleans tour start from? New Orleans can start from any Amtrak station you would like. You could fly in one great city to spend some time in one city, and then we could connect you right down by train into New Orleans. Or if you don't like to fly or you don't want to drive, we could start you right from your local Amtrak station. All right. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Yep. Sorry, folks. Just read it. I get a lot of nice comments over here. Yep. Let's see. California Zephyr from Chicago to San Francisco, is that also round trip? Any trip can be round trip. Wherever there's an Amtrak station, any trip can be round trip. What is the usual upcharge percent for a roomette upgrade? I will tell you, everyone, many times to go from coach seating to a roomette, very inexpensive. It could be anywhere from maybe a couple $100s extra per person to go from a coach seat to a roomette. Obviously, bedroom is going to probably be double that amount, okay? Because again, you're getting your own private toilet, shower inside of your room. My advice, and this is what I do myself, everyone, is if you know you're traveling overnight, okay, and it's within your budget to be able to upgrade to a sleeper, you have nothing to lose to ask any of our reservationists or your local travel advisor, okay, what's the difference if I travel in a roomette or I travel in a bedroom? You may even want to do one portion in a roomette and one portion in a bedroom. You can mix and match as well. So that's what I would suggest, Ken. But great question, great question. How many stops does the Zephyr make? We have stops all along the way. I'm not sure exactly the number. Many of our stops, folks, just so you know, are people just getting on and off the trains. But whatever you're booked on, whatever your trip is, will be the stops that you'll get on and off, whether it's for multiple nights or one night, depending on where and when you're traveling. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, let's just move along. We got, okay. Thanks. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Let's see. Are the sleepers on the lower or upper levels? Hi, Connie. Sleepers are actually on both levels. Sleepers are actually on both levels. All right. Let's see. Oh, hi, Robin. I might have a group for Girl Scouts. Yes. So definitely, feel free to give us a call. That number is down in the bottom right-hand corner. We with any of our packages, we don't hold group space. We book them live as we get them. But certainly, depending on if it's a family of 4 or 10 or 14, we can help accommodate as many folks of your friends and family as you have, or any groups of friends. Just you give us a call and we'll give you the starting from price, and we just will help you take care of them right there and then. Hope that helps. Thanks, Robin. All right, let's see. Okay, lots of good by the way, seeing lots of great responses for destinations. This is fantastic. Auto Train. Hi, Artie. I did the Auto Train. Absolutely fantastic. By the way, the Auto Train, again, it's the one train in the United States that you're allowed to bring an automobile, a car, or a truck on board the train. It actually leaves, it's like clockwork. It leaves at 4 p.m. from Lorton, Virginia, which is right outside of Washington, D.C., and it has no stops. It's also the only other train in the U.S. There is no stops. All our other trains in the U.S. have stops all along the way. It's the only one train where it leaves at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, arrives at 9 a.m. in the morning, right outside of Orlando in Sanford, Florida, and the same applies for the return. Leaves at 4 p.m. from Sanford, arrives at 9 a.m. the next morning back into Lorton, Virginia. So that's where you would have to start or end. So if any of you, for instance, wanted to go to South Carolina, you wanted to stop along the way, we have other trains available that would have multiple stops for you, okay? Hope that helps, Artie. Great question, though. Thank you. Fantastic. All right, let's see. Hi, Connie. Oh, fantastic. Booked on the Grand Teton Yellowstone in September. Fantastic. All right, seeing lots of great responses. Cross country, yes. Thank you, Mary. Yep, yep. All right. Let's see. Okay. Um, Hi, Wakis. If traveling with a group, is there a common area for gathering? All our trips are independent, so you can absolutely coordinate any areas that you'd like to gather with a group. Unlike a traditional bus tour, where everything is scheduled from 7 a.m. you're doing this, 10 a.m. you're doing this, 1 p.m. you're doing this, 4 p.m. It's not to that level of structure, but there is obviously a lot of sites and activities already included in the packages as well. So yeah, wherever you want to try to coordinate any gatherings with your group, you can do that. Also, you'll know ahead of time where and when some of the tours will start with some of the local guides, especially in the national parks. All right, let's see. Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. All right, I'm looking at all the questions and I got some nice comments here. Okay, here's a good one. Hi, Martha. Do you pay for the entire trip up front or put a deposit on it? Great question. All that's due is deposits, unless you're looking to travel literally within days or within the next week or two. then of course final payment would be due. But final payment with us is not due until 60 days before. Let me tell you what I did, everyone, and you are more than welcome to do this. I do a trip every year. I'm no different from everyone out there, or most of everyone. All right. I plan a trip. I make payments on my own periodically every couple months, and I pay a little bit extra towards my trip. That's what I do every year. It just helps. You have the same option to do it. We don't have a payment plan, so to speak, but you have the ability to call in to make additional payments if that helps. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, definitely, Artie. We have some fantastic lodges. Again, we pretty much travel to all the national parks, especially in the Western United States, and can get lodging inside those parks, which is fantastic. We love trades. Yes, I do too. Thank you, folks. I've been in the industry over 20 years myself, and there's something so nostalgic and vintage and special about train travel. It really, and I tell the story when I started 7 years ago. I was I was it was probably my one of my first weeks, and I at the time there was a little over 26 million people that had traveled on board Amtrak, and today there's now over 31 million. So you could see it definitely has really become such a popular way of traveling. Helen, great question. Additional cost for single person in a sleeper? Yes. So any single or solo travelers, there is obviously an additional cost because it's one person taking the place of a room versus two sharing the cost. However, about 15 to 20% of our travelers are solo travelers. They're single travelers. So definitely know that we are more than happy to help with any of the solo single travelers out there. Hi, Amy. Special meals, vegans. Yes, if any of you have any special dietary requests, just let us know. Let us or let your local travel advisor know, and we'll help make those arrangements for you ahead of time. Fantastic questions, everyone. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so we're just going through. Let's see. Can you review the dining car situation? Hi, Karen. Yeah, so again, just a reminder, everyone, all our trains heading from Chicago west, okay, the iconic sightseeing trains, the long distance overnight trains out to the parks, those are going to still be your traditional sit down meals, okay, order off the menu. Again, you have those options available in what time, the scheduled times to go have, again, dinner and sometimes lunches. All the trains in the eastern United States, which again are going to be more of the shorter distance trains, you're getting a little more commuters. Those are going to be, those are now, and they've been this way for a while. Those are going to be more of a flexible dining option. So you can pick and choose what you'd like to eat, and then you just go down to eat when you would like. You can either eat in the dining car, the lounge area, or bring it back to your room. So just a little more flexible dining, just like many of the cruise lines do. All right. Hope that helps, Karen. Thank you. Yeah, great question. Let's see. Let's see. Craig, our trips paid in full when booking? Nope. Again, just deposits. That's all that's due. Thank you, Julio. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you, Grant. All right. Let's see. Donald, do you pick which sleeper you want? What you want, like seats on an airline? Great question, Donald. So for the sleepers, yeah, if you have a certain request for sleepers, sometimes people, there's really no rhyme or reason, but if you want to be on one side of the train versus the other, you can ask any of our reservationists or your local travel advisor, which side of the train you'd prefer to be on. But again, coach seating is open seating. Um, let's see. Hi, Rika. Will Amtrak help logistics from train station to hotel? Yeah, so great question, Rika. So let me mention this to everyone. Most of all the hotels that we use, everyone, the hotels are within a short walking distance or a short cab ride of the train station. So we do offer some transfers in the major cities, but I will tell you firsthand myself, many of the train stations, they all have taxis right outside the train station. So if it's a little too far of a walk, it's a very short cab ride. Okay, so just wanted to mention that. Great question, Mika. These are all fantastic questions. All right, let's see. Okay. I want to travel up the East Coast. Dalcita, hi Dalcita. I want to travel up the East Coast, then along the top coast to Washington, down the West Coast, and travel along the bottom back to the East. and back up to my starting point. Are there train packages for those routes? Absolutely, Delcita. Wherever the train goes, we got you covered. Okay. And again, remember, everyone, any trip can be customized. Okay. So, and that's a perfect example of that. So, thank you. Let's see. Okay. Just moving along here. Okay. And by the way, folks, if I don't get to all your questions, let me apologize in advance. We have over 1,500 folks that have registered for today's presentation. Oh, thank you, Connie. Appreciate it. Uh, Thank you so much. Let's see. Grant, what time does a train arrive in Spokane, Washington? Grant, my apologies. I don't know off the top of my head, but again, just if it's okay, feel free to give us a call. We have a very, very short hold time right now, so a lot of folks can get right through, or certainly contact your local travel advisor as well. But they'll give you those specifics on the any of the times as well. All right, let's see. Da-da-da. Oh, good question, Ken. Have ridden the auto train many times. It is a good trip to avoid 95 traffic. Ken, you know something? You couldn't be more right. I ended up going in the night before. That's what I did. To your credit, Ken. So, folks, any of you that want to do the auto train, any of our packages, yeah, if it allows within your schedule or vacation, if you're working, I always suggest if you can go in the night before. Absolutely, Ken. Great point. Yep, to avoid traffic, especially for those of us along the eastern United States, right? Thank what Keith. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. Okay. Oh, thank you, Chuck. Appreciate it. Thank you all so much. What round trip? We did round trips starting in Connersville, Pennsylvania, across U.S., back across Canada and home. Trip of a lifetime. There you go, Artie. That's right. So again, a perfect example of trips being customizable. Absolutely. All right. Karen, well, this is a good one. Does Amtrak have a decent wine list? Karen, I like your question. If my wife was here, she would agree that they do have a decent wine list. I'm myself personally, I'm more of a beer drinker. But here's something to mention to all of you. Any of you that are overnighting on board any of these trips and you want a sleeper, you book into a roomette, a bedroom, or a handicap accessible room, you can actually bring your own alcoholic beverages on board the train. So my wife actually brought a bottle of wine. Now, here's the only thing. It does whatever you consume, whatever that is, it does need to be consumed from the privacy of your own room. So you can't bring it to dinner. So when we went to dinner, Karen, she was able to order, different choices of wine. They had Chardonnay and, red wine and white wine. So they had a good list of wine. I know she seemed happy. She's more of a wine connoisseur than myself, but I will tell you, anybody joining me, you have the ability, if you choose, not anyone in coach seating, but if you're in a sleeper, you can bring your own alcoholic beverages on board the train, but whatever you consume, it just needs to be consumed from the privacy of your room. Okay. Um, uh, Thank you very much, Nancy. So yeah, so again, as I mentioned, our flexible policy right now, any of you, if you wanted to book, rebook, reschedule, you can do that. And if you have to, revise or push back your trip, you have up until 5 days before. So if you call us today and you want to travel in, let's say, June of this year, and then June, comes and you think, son, maybe I might want to push that back a little bit. As long as you let us know 5 days before the actual travel date, and you've purchased our trip protection plan, we can issue a full value voucher and then just postpone your trip at a later date, which is fantastic. Okay, so just want to mention that. Very, very flexible. Judy, how long are the beds and sleepers? I'm 6'3". Can I tell you, Judy, I'm only 5'9", and I will tell you, anytime I see any folks that are taller, I immediately think of Amtrak Vacations. I will tell you, we have some folks that travel with us that they're all, many of them are 6 feet and over. It's one of the most comfortable ways to travel. I will tell you sincerely, certainly for anyone over 6 feet. So you'll be more than comfortable with any of our sleepers and also coach seating. as well. Oh, great question, Robert. If you have a sleeper, can you sit and coach during the day? Thank you so much, Robert, for mentioning that. Yes, absolutely. So any of you that are in sleepers, you have access to any available coach seat at free of charge. So you could, if you want to just, escape out of your room for a little bit, go down to a coach seat and just sit and enjoy. Go to the lounge car, the dining car. It's all open access. So, but yes, that definitely does include any coach seat as well. Folks, I got to tell you, thank you so very much. I hope this inspired you, brought a smile to your face. And again, if you have trips planned for the summer and fall, hang in there, folks. We're going to get through all of this. Okay. It's just a matter of time. And I'll tell you this, we have some fantastic trips for any of you that haven't booked as of yet. And hopefully you saw a sample of that today. Again, any trips you're even thinking about, even if you don't even have an idea as of yet where or when you're looking to travel, pick up the phone, give us a call, or contact your local travel advisor. And any of us would be more than honored and happy to help each and every one of you. So on behalf of myself, everyone, Jim Marini and Amtrak Vacations, sincerely thank you all so much for joining us. I wish you all the best of the rest of the week, and we will be all traveling all over again very soon. Thank you all so much, everyone. Have a great day. Take care.